Bill butt-fucking Maher. When he isn't wearing a pointy hat and baking cookies in a tree, he's feigning indignation at Trump's prospective pussy-grabbing.
Is this really happening? The guy who's running for president has grabbed them by the pussy? Even Bill Cosby today was like, Jesus, at least I'm thoughtful enough to give them a drug in their drink.
All while purchasing a penile timeshare at the fucking Playboy Mansion. Yeah, Bill Dozer, what were you grabbing over there? Petunias? Point being, Bill Maher is filled to capacity with a heap and help and a horse shit. But he also happens to be a comedian, one who, unlike many Lyran lefties of his chosen vocation, actually possesses the ability to periodically, albeit, make me fucking laugh. Sure, it's like spotting a shooting star, but that's more than I can say for people with names that rhyme with Lara Gilverman. And here's the thing about comedy. In a distant time, in a distant place, when a distant people possessed a distant sense of fucking humor, comedy would occasionally, just sometimes, be somewhat fucking offensive.
We'd love to have you work in the fields with us.
Work in the field?
That's part of that. That's
Senator, I'm a house. No, it's a joke.
A torrent of criticism was unleashed at the comedian whose brand is being politically acerbic and outrageous. Many taking to Twitter to express outrage and call for Maher's removal from HBO, tweeting, "Bill Maher has got to go. There are no explanations that make this acceptable."
You cannot allow anyone to act like there's anything funny in any context about using that word.
And just like that, the guillotine hunger force is up on the execution platform and whacking their own. Fucking really? 48 fucking hours ago, you were shrieking at Mariah Carey, dog whistle pitch, that Kathy Griffin didn't do nothing and there's no line in comedy. Then Bill Maher unleashes the crack-a-crack and suddenly you're the town elders from fucking Footloose? Better put that goalpost on fucking wheels there, Grease Lightning. Maher devotes literally years of his life to being a disingenuous douche canoe running interference for an Obama administration that knows the precise consistency of the corn kernels in my turds, but this is what sets you off. Humorous satirizing of a centuries-old racist colloquialism. You know, for a political party that desperately aspires to recreate the 90s, you sure as shit shrink for the faintest utterance of the slur that, thanks to gangster rap, served as the unofficial fucking watchword for the decade in question. So wait, Spike Lee can devote 9 exhaustive whitey-hating master volumes to precisely why it's our word and how we've co-opted it into a black power expression, but the minute the very same word is uttered by a Semitic lawn gnome, these very same hard-as-nails, gang sign flashing fuckwits go from Mary J. Blige to Mary Whitehouse. But this is the innately cannibalistic nature of outrage culture, and like any culture, it grows like a fucking fungus. The problem with an ideology that extols the ineffable pursuit of the brightest, blinding virtue signal is that calling into question the virtue of your less than pious peers also happens to be the most convenient and effective method of implicitly validating your own. This is why Lacey Green is currently being spit roasted on a Riri rotisserie for daring to break bread with the enemy by the same bra-burning bosom companions that for years upon fucking years hoisted her up as a bastion of turd-wave feminist shrillery. I nearly overdosed on irony when Angela Rye, a contributor to CNN who waited a fucking week to fire Kathy Griffin for the same goddamn thing, held her very own virtue vigil on Twitter, alluding to centuries-old events as if they happened last fucking week, calling the outburst, and I quote, "a painful reminder of the atrocities that happened on plantations, a reminder that Massa could have his way with slaves without regard for permission because we were deemed as property," describing it as, quote, "not a joke," and capping it off with Old Faithful, "we gave birth to y'all." Timely indeed, considering this past week, scientists published findings suggesting that Africa was not in fact the cradle of civilization. And look, even if it was, alright, let's roll with that. So considering you hit white people with it constantly, it's only fair to fire back with the old "what have you done for us lately? Peanut butter, good music, and race riots?" I don't see the Swiss bragging on those watches and they still make the fucking things. Listen up, Luba Bonti Kwanda. You're not automatically an authority on jokes merely because you're employed employed by the biggest one in cable journalism. And you may not want to hear this, but it's the adult obsession with race that keeps the issue even marginally relevant. I have yet to witness a live birth where the infant of the hour came roaring down that labial luge, cigar in hand, and called the MD a moon cricket. It's all you belly-aching ass boomers perpetually lodged in the 1960s who obsessed about Ferguson, Zimmerman, and Rodney fucking King, because the darksome truth is there's no bigger mistake the left could make in this country than permanently solving the problem of racial tension. Corralled as they all are into their convenient little ethnic pig pens for ease of exploitation, each one to a man a dyed-in-the-dick cheese Democrat, why in the lowest chambers of hell would the left want to foul up that fucking hustle? And here's the ass-pounding irony of it all. If the race war is a hustle, Bill Maher is Larry fucking Flint. Before Freddie Gray's gray matter was hosed off the paddy wagon floor, Maher was there with a wisecrack and a weak-ass punchline. Before Trayvon had ascended to that great big Skittles factory in the sky, Maher was there with a cricket bat and a George Zimmerman pinata. Maher, I won't pretend to know what the fuck a petard is, but consider yourself hoisted, motherfucker. With that said, what I have to say next is for the so-called new media on the right, fucking exclusively. Libertarians, new right, alt-right, rainbow bright, I give less than a fuck. You're better than this. I'm hip to the fact that it's an outright five-alarm culture war right now. No one can turn on a cable fucking news station without having 9 1/2 inches of the anti-Trump narrative flop on their fucking chin. We get it. They'd rather the country fail than our presidents succeed. And for what it's worth, I'm with you on that. And the gloves are off. But trafficking in double standards to advance an obvious political narrative is precisely how, over the last 8 years, the old media went from Baby Huey to fucking Methuselah. Oh, you'll enjoy temporary gains, but make a habit of employing their own tactics against them, and in the long run, you'll fucking become them. It ain't right to revel in your innate shit lordiness and then talk about the efficacy of humor for an entire goddamn election cycle, then spontaneously turn into a shrinking violet with a case of the vapors when a comedian tells a saucy joke. This ain't the first time Bill Maher's been a butthole on film. Have we forgotten the Al-Qaeda aren't cowards episode that led to politically incorrect's unceremonious fucking shit canning?
We have been the cowards, lobbing cruise missiles from 2,000 miles away. That's cowardly.
That is a
Staying in the
terribly-
airplane
yes.
when it hits the building.
That is
Say
a
what you want
terribly-
about it, not
you know-
cowardly.
But by the same token, never forget, it was a conservative stand-up comedian who came to Bill Maher's aid.
Well, people always talk about PC and they throw the
Like you for
term
Liz
out like...
Green.
But they always throw it out just like it's a good party chat conversation. But really, don't you think at its core, it's really patently dangerous, isn't it? I mean,
It's
if we...
extremely dangerous.
There's a lot of things in this country that are never going to be solved now because you can't even get near it without all the alarms going off.
Right. People are worried about whether we can criticize our government. No. The problem is not that we criticize too much, it's conformity.
Many of you, before accepting the mantle of new media, publicly expressed the perfectly valid sentiment that we deserve a better media. I, for one, fucking concur. So be it! I'm Razor Fist. God fucking speed.
I'm black, y'all, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm blacker than black, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm blacker than black, and I'm black, y'all. I'm blickety black, blacker than black, black, I'm blacker than black, yo, because I'm black and I'm black.
That's racist!